Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of King Island TV. And today we're going to talk about something that is very different. Some people call it the shindig of the year. Some people call it dancing music. It's got a lot of bits and pieces to it. It's called the dance hall. Now you could say, what's the dance hall? Now we're going to find out because we're going to talk to Moira Finucane. Moira, welcome.
Welcome. I'm so excited to be coming to King Island with this show.
I can understand that. Now we're gonna have this in the town hall, which is interesting. Dance hall, town hall. Now I could talk a lot about it, but let's have a look at a little clip that you guys put together, Moira, and then sort of give a bit of an impression because pictures say more than words usually. So let's have a little listen. Let's have a look.
Everybody needs a little love, and everybody needs somebody thinking of them. Everybody needs a little respect, and whatever it takes, I'm gonna get it. Everybody needs a hand to hold, someone to cling to when the nights are getting cold. I'm no different, I am just the same, a player in the game. Absolutely everybody.
That looks exciting, Moira. It's like this is not something where you could go and sit down and just watch and sit, isn't it? Your hands and feet must be doing
The
something.
work we created this show, Wade, many years ago called the Burlesque Hour, and it took Melbourne by storm. We premiered it in the middle of winter in a warehouse in Melbourne, and it just sold out every night. It traveled the world. It went to 18 countries. It was seen by 600,000 people. And then somewhere in the middle of all of that, tiny country towns, remote festivals, people all over Australia said, we really want you to come to us with this amazing cabaret. There's singing, there's dancing, there's performance art. It's weird, it's wild, it's wonderful, and it's really welcoming. And at that time, which was around 2012, it was actually easier to go to Budapest than it was to go to Bruthen because there's all these touring networks in place and there's all this support. So this amazing outfit called Regional Arts Victoria commissioned us to make our first touring work, which was called Caravan Burlesque. And it ended up being the longest tour of variety in Australia since the gold rush. It toured for 8 months. It went from the Pilbara to Port Arlington, from Margaret River to the Sydney Opera House. And it really started this incredible love affair that we have with the regions, with country towns, and tiny halls and big halls and gorgeous old ornate halls. And out of all of that, that kept touring for a few years. We made a number of other shows that we premiered in regional towns because when you take a work to the regions, we always believe it's great to start with that feeling, right at the premiere. But we've never been to King Island before. And when we made Dance Hall in 2018, we made it because people saw our variety shows in all these towns all over Australia and they said, we want to be on stage with you. We know these amazing local artists, they're Hungarian dancers, they're Indigenous superstars, they're local dance troupes. We want to join you on stage. So we made a show called Dance Hall, which the whole audience could get involved with and dance. And not, you don't need to be a dancer so long as you can tap your toes. We have people up dancing to the Macarena. We've done a bit of Nutbush, City Limits. We get a bit of ABBA out. And it is really irresistible. And we've taken it from Tennant Creek to 20 towns all over Victoria to the Big Smoke. And you're the second place we're going to bring it on our national tour, which is going to take in 72 towns. And in fact, town halls like yours are kind of part of the reason we made Dance Hall, because we know that people love their local treasured town halls. It's often only the efforts of locals that have actually kept them standing in the first place. And we love to come into these beloved places, put up our bunting and our festooning, our gorgeous satin drapes, and invite the community in to have a night that is unforgettable in their own town hall.
Now, what the first thing that crosses my mind talking about regional places and country is,
Yeah.
I don't know why, Priscilla is the first thing that jumps in my mind.
Oh my God, me too. When we first created Caravan Burlesque and we took it across the Nullarbor and we said it's a night to rival the Nullarbor. It's hot, hot, hot and full of stars. And a lot of people said to me, is this like Priscilla? And I said, it's kind of like Priscilla, except, we don't have a heel on the top of the bus because the wind drag would slow us down. We've got such a huge schedule. And in actual fact, we're bringing to King Island, speaking of Priscilla, a drag artist called Benjamin Hancock, aka drag name Bendy Ben, one of the most extraordinary dancers in Melbourne, and indeed has toured the world and won lots of awards and has this fantastic drag character. And the dancing, the disco dancing is just eye-popping. It's beautiful. And singers.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Moira. What's your background? How do you get involved with all of this? Was it dancing, singing? Tell us.
Well, I have an unusual background. I actually trained as an environmental scientist. And while I was studying environmental science, I met a woman who was studying humanities, and she was from King Island. And she became one of my best friends. And year after year, she would tell me about King Island and how beautiful it was and how delicious the seafood was and what an amazing place. And we're still friends. And I said to her, Meredith, one day I will come to King Island and we will do a show and it will be magnificent and we'll taste the seafood. So time passed and I went off to work in World Heritage and environmental law and Meredith from King Island, and I met a lot of her family. They went off and worked all over the place because, as you know, Wade, King Islanders are a very talented, multifaceted bunch. And I became involved in arts and I started working in theatre and writing and performance and directing, and I've worked all over the world. I've worked in the main stages of China. We've taken our work to Buenos Aires. I've been to Antarctica. I've done residencies at galleries in Paris. But it is possible that a weekend in King Island will be one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Well, if you talk about the environment, having travelled so many places and country, you've seen most of Australia's environment then, haven't you?
I've seen a lot of the beauty of this country, and I never am failing. I never fail to be so impressed and sometimes quite shocked. I remember the first time I went to Darwin, originally coming from Perth and then working and living in Melbourne. Darwin is completely different. Tropical, people from lots and lots of countries to the north of Australia. It has a completely different feeling. And then as you go further up into Arnhem Land and meet First Nations people there, another feeling again. I've been really privileged to meet and work with some of the most talented First Nations artists throughout Australia, and I never tire of going to new places and meeting people where they live and work. I tend to think of the small towns of Australia as a kind of series of jewels and treasures that are scattered all over this land, and each one of them has a unique character. And sometimes people just drive on through and don't see that character. But if you stop and stay and talk to the locals, it's a privilege.
Now, you mentioned characters that you already mentioned, Benjamin. Who's the team that you're going to bring across? Who are we going to see?
Well, we wanted to bring a really special team to King Island because I know that you haven't had your agricultural show this year because of COVID. And I was talking to the King Island Council wondering, should we come? Should we delay because of COVID? You had an outbreak there over Christmas and eventually we decided, let's just come. Let's be the show instead of the show. So I got together some of my favourite artists. There's an amazing opera singer called Piera Dennisteen. and she will literally make you cry. Before the pandemic, she was touring Italy, China, France with major companies. And of course, she's trapped at home, and you are the direct beneficiaries of that. Willow Sizer is a country girl herself. She's a music theatre star. She's an amazing singer, an amazing dancer, and she's coming as well. Bendy Ben, our incredible drag artist. Anna Lum, who is a circus star, who has toured all over the world. She's toured with Circus Oz. She's won many awards. She's an incredible hula hooper, just dynamite. They call her the pocket rocket. And a bottle walker, a contortionist. And she also has a kids show. So one of the things that I really love about the show we're bringing you is on Friday night, it's a family-friendly night. So it's totally G-rated. You can bring anybody. Bring your kids, bring your grandparents, just come down and have a ball with the whole family. And on Saturday night, it's the Growing Up show. So it's a lot wilder, a lot more risque, and you can come to both nights. Why not? So Anna Lum she runs an award-winning children's show, so there'll be part of that comes out on Friday night. But she's also a burlesque star in her own right, and that will come out on Saturday night. And Bendy Ben has this beautiful disco character, which will come out on Friday night. But if you come on Saturday night, he turns into this extraordinary bird of paradise that's toured all over the world. So the same artists, but different shows on different nights.
So Friday the 25th, ladies and gentlemen, bring the family, bring the kids, and Saturday on the 26th, get yourself a babysitter, because you could watch 2 different shows in 2 days' time, isn't
Absolutely. It? And it's the cast, they're such an amazing bunch of artists. They love audiences. They've toured the world. I think between them all, they've won about 50 awards for theatre, cabaret, dance, opera in Pierre's case. My theatre show, The Glory Box, has become the world's most awarded provocative variety. So we basically know how to throw a party big time. And they call me the Queen of Cabaret Bazaar, the mistress of the macabre. And I will be hosting Friday night and rocking out a couple of my legendary world famous burlesques on Saturday night. And all of it, both nights are absolutely sumptuous, incredibly welcoming, velvet candy striped curtains, satin ruches, gorgeous satin tablecloths. There'll be drinks at the bar, and, grab your friends, gussy up, dust off your glad rags, and, kick the COVID blues out the door.
So what sort of music are we listening to? What sort of songs? What sort of era, Moira?
Oh, my goodness. Everything from contemporary disco and dance music to opera. It's absolutely across the bandwagon. We've got, it's such a grab bag. It's really toe tapping, but we also have those moments of complete stillness where we have things like Neil Young, After the Gold Rush, sung by Willow, which is absolutely heartbreaking, to a mandolin. It just always brings the room to a complete standstill. Pierre, as well as being an opera star, she's in our company, she's turned her magnificent voice to some pretty famous disco classics. So she's belts out Lady Marmalade and literally raises the roof. So it's a mix of eras, it's a mix of genres, and then everybody, without fail, gets up and has a boogie together at the end.
Can you think of anybody that would want to miss out on one of these nights?
No, I cannot. And, when we first started touring this work, Wade, people that programmed us said, are our towns ready for it? You're wild, you're risque. It works in the city, but will it work in our country town? And I said, look, everybody wants to have a great night out. And our company is known throughout the world for taking care of people. We are so hospitable. We are so cherishing. People, I remember in Devonport, this farmer came up to me And he said, I said, I didn't want to come tonight, but the wife made me do it. And I went, well, thank you for making the effort, thinking, oh, well, not everybody likes it. But, my experience is that everybody had to date. And I thought, well, maybe this is a night where I get the insight into the person that doesn't like it. He said, yeah. And he took my hand with his very rough, weather-beaten hands, and he said, you made me laugh. You made me cry. You go, girl. And it's one of the best bits of audience feedback I've ever received. It's right up there with a guy who was overheard in the foyer in Geelong talking to his mates. And he said, this beats a beep out of Friday Night Footy. And that actually, when we went back to Geelong, we put that on our poster. It beats the F, expletive out of Friday Night Footy. So this is a show for everyone.
A show for everyone.
It's a show for everyone. Bring everybody. It's totally G-rated on Friday night. And on Saturday night, it will get a bit more risque, a bit wilder.
Well, I'm sure that both nights are F-rated, Moira, and that's what I call fun-rated. We can't wait to see your group. We can't wait to see your group and have some fun. Artistic Director of Dance Hall, Moira Finucane, thank you for your time.
Oh, it's just a joy. We can't wait. And I have been promised some brie, Wade. Is that correct?
We can give you all the brie crayfish in the world you like, I'm sure. But better perform first, because otherwise your mouth might get a little sticky. We can't run that risk.
All right. Well, we look forward to it. It's a fair exchange, a wild, beautiful, fun night of variety for the world's best brie. Done.